Good morning. Today I'm at an area just north of Chasewater Lake and I'm here to do a little bit of bird photography. Now I'm just currently in this little birch forest and I was walking around and I couldn't hear anything. You know, it was really eerily quiet. So I carried on walking through until eventually I heard something cool, and it wasn't your usual songbirds, it wasn't a little blue tit or a great tit, it was a sparrowhawk. So I stopped and waited for a little bit until I eventually saw it, and from the looks of it, it was a beautiful female. Now, unfortunately, it didn't give me the best of views, but hey, it explains why this area is so quiet. Anyway, my plan for today is go for a little walk around this area, maybe catch up with another sparrowhawk, who knows, but ultimately, let's just see what we can find. So far today, it's been very much a mixed bag. So while I've seen a lot of birds, you know, I've seen plenty of swallows, a couple of ravens. Oh, I think I saw like 4 whitethroats as well. So, you know, it's a really cool species. It's actually been really difficult getting them on film. They've always been blocked by trees or just simply too far away, sadly. So this location, you know, I think it's a great location for bird watching. In terms of bird photography, it's a bit of a struggle. But that being said, I've got hours left yet, so I'm not deterred too much as I drop my case. Now, I'm not deterred too much because ahead of me, I can see a little area, bit of habitat, mixed habitat. So I've got some trees behind me, some gorseland, some open fields. I'm gonna plant for a little bit and just basically sit and wait. You know, give it some time, have a bit of lunch and see if anything wants to drop on by. You know, I'd love to get some images of, frankly, any bird sitting atop some gorse. I think it'd be a pretty sweet shot. My decision to stop and wait for a little bit seems to be paying off, because I've only been here for a few minutes, but I've already had a little group of linnets surrounding me, sort of popping on top of a gorse and, you know, doing their thing, flying around. Now, unfortunately, they were just scared off by a couple of dog walkers walking through, but I can still hear them, like, you know, knocking around, so they're still in the area. So I'm just gonna stay here for a little bit and hopefully they decide to pop back on the gorse. So folks, you may have noticed that today I've been using a new bag. This is the Lowepro Whistler BP 350 AW2. Full disclosure, Lowepro have sent me this bag completely free of charge, no money has changed hands, which means I can be as honest as I want about it. First of all, I really like the materials. This sort of material up here, it's abrasion and waterproof, meaning it's resistant to tears, and it's also made from 66% recycled materials. Secondly, this pocket on the front is expandable, and it's also big enough so I can actually fit a water bladder in there, thanks to the handy little like strap up here. Also inside here, between the main compartment and the front compartment, is this kind of like rubber material. So it's supposed to be waterproof, so I guess, heaven forbid, my water bladder is to pop. Hopefully all my gear inside should be more than fine. Now you can access your gear in two different ways. Whereas the top compartment, which I currently have shelved off because I like to keep my binoculars and things like my earphones and earplugs in there. Now the rear compartment can hold up to 35 litres worth of gear and is deep enough to have cameras with grips on them, which is a lovely addition. It's also big enough that I can have my 600mm on one side with the body attached, and I've got space on the other side where I can keep snacks and things like my audio gear and video gear for actually making these videos. Now, what don't I like? Well, luckily for Lowepro, there's only one thing which actually puts me off this bag, and that's the weight. It sits around 2.5 kilograms. If you've been watching my recent videos, you'll know that I've been trying to save weight with my gear as much as humanly possible, which is actually one of the reasons why I switched brands recently. So, at around 2.5 kilograms, it is a bit on the heavier side. It is the caveat that it is a very well made bag. It shows, it feels fantastic, but on a long hike, I think having that extra weight could make a bit of a difference, when you're a few miles in. But other than that, gotta say, Lowepro, I actually really like it. Now again, full disclosure, no money changed hands. I genuinely do really like this bag. Anyway, that's enough of that for now. Let's go back to the birds. The woodland path has pretty much just finished now, and it's taken me back out to the edge of the woods, back on these little sort of country paths. Now, this doesn't bother me too much because, as it turns out, it is pretty much nigh on impossible to see anything in the woodland anyway. So I think I've got better chances out here, a bit more open ground, a bit more open space, and hopefully I'll be able to see something pretty cool. Now, truthfully, it's actually been really quiet today, and I was actually chatting to a dog walker about it. Apparently it's just really hard to spot stuff. I mean, maybe it's me, I'm just a bit out of practice maybe, but I don't know. Not been the most lucky of days, but I don't know, fingers crossed. It's been a lovely hike regardless, and like I always say, you can't always go out and expect greatness. But you can always try your best, If you stay inside all day, you'll never see anything. So, I think I've got a few more miles to cover. end my day, I've just crossed the main road. I don't remember which one it is, but I've just crossed the main road and I've come onto the Chasewater side of the kind of like area. So I'm going to see what's about. I've just heard from a dog walker that there's plenty of deer, so I'll definitely be keeping my eyes open for them. Just look at how beautiful this forest is. With my face in it. Let's do the old flip. And flip. Yeah. Sometimes you really can't just beat a good old walk in the woods. How awesome was that? Now, I'm not sure if they were fallow or red deer, but I'm sure somebody will be kind enough to let me know in the comments below. Anyway, I think that is the best way to end the day. So guys, I just want to say thank you so much once again. So please like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you later, folks.